of all, an emotional day for you and your family and thinking about your son, Daniel.
It is. It's quite frustrating, though. I certainly echo Anthony Albanese's comments about the lack of consultation. I mean, I was part of an expert advisory committee that developed a suite of terms of reference, and it actually included over 6 commissioners that had the potential credibility, calibre and pedigree to lead a commission of this sort. So the news today is quite disappointing, and I have to say it's underwhelming.
So you're talking about you're not happy with the appointment of Nick Kaldas?
No, I feel like our veterans deserve much, much more. They deserve the best. And, you know, I don't know Mr Kaldas. All I can see is that veterans have been offered second best, if you like, a deputy commissioner, whereas there doesn't seem to be the experience that we would expect in this once-in-a-lifetime event. So for me, I would need to investigate more about the qualifications. The only good side of this is the appointment of Dr Peggy Brown, so at least we can have, you know, a mental health systems perspective looking at veteran suicide. But the announcements today, I've got to say, I'm very underwhelmed.
You obviously had other people in mind in terms of heading up this. What about the terms of reference? It seems relatively broad, but what do you make of the format? Is it broad enough?
Well, I haven't actually seen the updated terms of reference. We've only seen the proposed terms of reference that were released a couple of months ago. So from Scott Morrison's announcement today, it doesn't sound like too much has changed. And we reported on, you know, probably some of the deficits of that. And again, as part of a committee, we established our own terms of reference that were presented in Cabinet a few weeks ago now, that were much more extensive and much more thorough. So I look forward to see the actual final terms of reference, and then I can provide more feedback.
No, fair enough. We'll let you do that before we drill down into that then. So let's just turn to what you have been talking about, because perception about what we're talking about, this subject, suicide within the military and defence, the common perception is it's all about trauma in combat, but your research suggests the culture at the ADF is actually a big problem. Suicide and mental health are a huge issue even for people that never served overseas in combat.
Absolutely. So my research actually explores the moral injuries of service. So when members, and you know, it can be leaders, members or whoever, feel significantly betrayed either by the systems, by their leaders, by their colleagues, and that betrayal eats away at them over time, which fundamentally increases poor mental health, which can increase episodes of suicide behaviour and ultimately suicide. So a lot of what's happening now has the potential to create more moral injuries. So I certainly welcome Scott Morrison's announcement that he's going to be providing the legal and financial support and also extra counselling support, which is critical for people coming forward, particularly those in defence, which will be a really, you know, uncertain and scary time for them. So I absolutely advocate for much, much more support, particularly for those in defence.
Is that, do you think, coming out of this Royal Commission, is that the thing that's going to surprise Australians? Not necessarily how much trauma people can have from serving in combat and what happens there, but what happens to people here on Australian soil?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at the level of damage that occurs both in and out of defence and what that actually does to people trying to move through the transitions between defence and into civilian life post-events. I think there's going to be a lot of shocked members of public out there once they start reading through some of those submissions.
Difficult time, but one I know as well that you welcome in the sense that you've campaigned for this. Look, we'll get further reaction once you've had a chance to delve into how broad this is going to be. Nikki Jamieson, appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Well, support for veterans and their families is available. Open Arms, 1800 011 046. The Defence Family Helpline as well, 1800 624 608. Lifeline as well, 13 11 14. You can see the Defence All Our Support line, 1800 628 036.